Nagash is come personally to rein in Prince Vhordrai, who has declared himself against Nagash, trying to push away from his prison at the Crimson Keep. But the Lord of Death isn't having any of it, and he's brought one of his Mortarks with him, Manfred. Now they are trying to stop Vhordrai. Will they be able to, or will the vampire be able to gain his freedom through right of conquest?
Hey everyone, this is Chad. Thanks for coming to Dark Record Wargaming. Today we have a match between myself and Jordan. We're both going to be playing the Soulblight Gravelords. This is part 2. It's a companion piece to the video we uploaded last week, so if you haven't seen that, go back and look at it. This is a little bit of a narrative campaign, so this is game 2 in that. Stick around to the end. Jordan and I have a really good sit and chat. Jordan knows an awful lot about the Soulblight Gravelords and the Undead, so we have a pretty good sit and chat, and I pick his brain on how to build lists and stuff like that. But before we get into this, if you'd like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, join the Horde, and now stay tuned for the show, folks.
So here today, this will be a fight between two Castelli armies of Soulblight. Vhordrai with his rebel Castelli forces, and Nagash taking some loyal forces to him. Both from the same subfaction.
Alright, rolling to see who drops first.
Alright, you get to pick.
I'm gonna let you drop first.
Okay.
And we already put down the grave sites and the objectives. So the purple ones are the objectives. Then the grave site markers. We got one here, one there, one in the middle, one there, down in the end, on both sides. So you see down in the end there, Jordan bunched up 2 of his.
Actually, I'm pretty sure these don't count as terrain features, but just in case they do, I'll have them an inch apart from each other.
So there we go. So it's all of the white tokens you see on the table there are the grave sites, and the purple ones are the objective markers.
We are playing Feral Foray today. There are 3 objectives on each side, and we will score 1 victory point if you control at least 1 more if you control at least 2, and then 1 more after that if you control more than your opponent. In addition, we will also score 2 if we complete our battle tactics for each round, and 3 at the end of the battle if we complete our grand strategy. The other difference in this scenario is that from the start of the second battle round, we can raid objectives, which means after scoring victory points, you can raid 1 objective that you control that is wholly within your opponent's territory, and that is within 1 inch of a friendly unit. If you do so, you score 1 additional victory point. The objective is then removed from play. So you have to be really close to it, but you can get rid of an objective starting at the second battle round.
And what page is that on?
It is on page 40 of the GHB. Battle Plan Feral Foray. So today we have a Soulblight mirror matchup. Manfred on this side, 10 skeletons over on both sides. 5 Blood Knights in the center, a Vengorian Lord, and Nagash. Very low model count, very different than the army it's pitched up against. Alright.
What do you have for extra spells and things?
Oh, Nagash knows all the spells, because he gets to. The Vengorian Lord will know a Flaming Weapon, and Manfred will know Overwhelming Dread.
Do you have any battalions?
Yes, I have the battalion that lets me have fewer drops. Everything's in it except for who was it? Oh yeah, it was Nagash and Manfred aren't in it. But yeah.
How many points?
The points, it should be, I believe, 1995.
Alright, so today I have 3 units of Fellbats. They're kind of spread out throughout the grouping here. And I had just rebased these right before they released the new stuff, so these are on 40s. So that's the way we're going to play them. So they're supposed to be on 50s, they're on 40s, in case anybody's wondering. Then I have lots of zombies. So I have 5 units of 20 zombies. There's 1 big squad of 40 back there. And then I have a unit of 20 in front of it. A unit of 20 here in front of the Mortis engine. There's another unit of Fellbats there. Another unit of 20 by Prince Vhordrai. He's in the back corner there. And then another unit of Fellbats over there. And on Prince Vhordrai, I took Soul Spike for his spell. And then I took Vanguard, which is Gorslav, and the big unit of zombies, and 2 small units. So the 2 small units that are in there, they have the purple underneath on the movement trays on that one, and the blue on that one. So they're in there. And then that big unit that's back there, a 40. And then Hunters of Heartland, I took that on Vargeist, which I have 3 units. And off to the side here, I have 3 units of Vargeists, with leader in the middle there on each one. That's 1,995 points.
I will take first turn.
Darn. Nagash goes first. Here we go. Soulblight. Nagash, turn 1.
What are we doing? Oh, end of turn. I didn't do a whole lot here because we were far away from each other. What I did was I'm going for the objective scenario where I have 3 monsters that all run and end close to each other. So I did that. And my 3 monsters ran and ended close to each other. So that'll give me 3 points. And then I will get 1 more point because I have an objective and I have 2 objectives, but I do not have more than Jad. So that means I end this turn with 5 points. And other than that, not a whole lot happened. Nagash put a Mystic Shield on himself and shot some shots at Gorislav, who passed off almost all of them to the zombies. So he killed a few zombies, essentially, so far.
So I took 4 off of this unit of 20 that was over here. I should have tipped them over, but they were right here.
Oh, sure.
So.
Yeah. And yeah, that's it for turn 1.
The Rebels, turn 1. I moved everybody up. These guys, I left them by the objective.
Oh, so you have to roll Battle Shock on those zombies.
Oh yeah, I'll roll that in 1 second. So I moved everybody up. These guys got a charge off on Nagash. Managed to get in there. He basically whacked them all down except for 1 of the zombies. The Fellbats just whiffed. They just kind of flew around his head. He took 1 damage, or they got 1 in on him basically, but he just shrugged it off. And then over here, I failed to charge with that unit of Fellbats, so they just hung back. I did end up using my extra command point to get in there because they failed to charge that other unit of bats, but I reused it to get in there. And then the Vargeists got in there, and I ended up wiping out that unit, and that was my secondary for the turn, so I get 2 points for that. And I get a point for holding this objective. The other objective back here. And then, so it's 5-5 right now. And we're going to go into, what did I miss?
No, I think that's it.
Is that it? Oh, and then Battle Shock for these guys.
Oh yeah, Battle Shock, yeah.
Or I can burn a command point and just not, right?
If you're in range too.
In range of that dude.
Gorislav?
Yeah.
Is he a general?
Yeah, remember we said he
Yep.
was going to be a general?
Yep. Then you should be in range, yeah.
Yeah, so he's just going to burn a command point.
Okay, sweet.
So they pass that.
Yeah, and you lose your command points at the end of the battle round anyways.
Yeah, the one guy is going to stay there.
Alright.
I don't know why he would, but he's going to. The Undead aren't very smart. So now we're going to go roll for turn.
Alright.
This is important. We're going to roll for turn. Oh, that's not good.
Oh, I take it because, yeah.
Because reasons.
Yeah, because I win ties.
Alright, here we go.
I'm going to take it.
Nagash, turn 2.
We had a pretty strong turn. I'm very glad we got the turn, but I mean, we might get doubles later, but I think it was worth it for us. Over here, Manfred took care of this flanking unit of Vargeist. Then on this side, the Blood Knights lost 1 because they were attacked by these Vargeist, but then they killed 2 Vargeist. This one's almost dead, and they killed this unit just with 1 Blood Knight. He spiked his damage. They were currently doing 3 damage from their lances because they were buffed by his once per game command trait, and they were on the charge. Oh, I forgot. The command trait also affects him. Wouldn't have mattered. He killed them all. Over on this side, Nagash burst his way through the units that were left over here And my battle tactic was to kill him. Nagash did. And Nagash is a monster, so I'll get an extra point for that. Then Nagash went over here and slammed into that unit of zombies and killed them all. I believe I have model superiority on this objective now, in which case I'm going to burn it.
I don't know if you do, because he's within 6 as well.
Yes, but he counts as 2, because he is...
Who does?
Gorslav. He counts as 2. Your Coven Throne counts as 2.
Right. So you
Nagash
just have
counts
Nagash.
as 5.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, a hero... Or I think heroes that are monsters count as 5.
Alright.
Yeah, I believe that's the rule. But yeah, Nagash counts as 5.
Alright. We'll look it up real quick. And then besides that, what else do you got going?
I'm going to see if I can bring back 5 skeletons. I almost certainly can. Yes, I can, because I killed a lot of your units this turn. So I'm going to bring 5 skeletons back from your gravesite over here. And sit them on this objective.
Okay. Then what do you got for points total in the turn?
For points total, I will have... So I have my hold 1, hold 2, hold more, and also I get an extra point for burning yours. So that will give me a total of 4 points from that. And then I also get 3 points from Nagash killing your little dude there. So that will give me 7 this turn.
So you got 12.
Yep, putting me at 12.
Alright.
It's a good turn for me.
Let's see if Vhordrai can come back.
Yeah, that's going to be the swinger.
Alright, here comes the traders. Turn 2. Okay, folks, so in my turn, I ended up bringing that unit on. They were able to drop right in the center there and charge that unit of skeletons and get them off there. I took that objective. Over here, Vhordrai and those zombies charged that dude and did not end up killing him. Didn't even come close, actually. I got like 3 or 4 wounds on him.
Well, you got 6 on him, but then he got 2 back.
Yeah, he got 2 back.
Some zombies.
So, and then this Vargeist actually retreated out of combat from over there because there's no sense in just staying there and getting killed because he wasn't able to hold the objective there anyway. So what ended up happening is I have more objectives, so I get 3 points for that. I did end up picking at the beginning of my turn that I was going to try to kill that dude, and that didn't happen, so I didn't get the points for that. It was a good fight, though. I actually liked that fight. That was pretty good. I opted not to charge Nagash because I really didn't see the benefit in that. Jordan and I talked about it a little bit, and there's really no benefit. I don't think I'm going to be able to kill him, so I'm just going to avoid him as long as I can. And I think that's about it for my turn. So we're going to end up rolling off for turn here. Alright, rolling for turn.
I'm taking it.
Yeah. Here we go. Nagash, ready to smack my nose. Turn 3.
This turn, I charged Manfred in over here, killed this unit of Vargeist. Manfred really rolled very well, even though he didn't have his command ability on this turn. Over on this side, these knights killed 3 zombies, and they're sitting on that objective. The Vhordrai over here is right out of range. Then over on this point, he ran away. This way, I have 2 units that are heroes, or that are monsters on this side of the board, which gives me my secondary with an additional point for monsters for Savage Spearhead. And Nagash hit some zombies again. And he managed to, him and the Vangorian Lord managed to grab this objective and burn it. So yeah, pretty good turn for me.
Yeah, he whacked that whole unit of zombies.
Oh, and Nagash put a lot of debuffs onto Vhordrai as well. Vhordrai has a ton of debuffs. So yeah. I think that'll help me because my Chad's best shot against me now is probably coping for a double in the next 2 turns. But if his big damage piece is debuffed to that extent, might not matter.
Yep, because that's the second objective you burned, so I'm down to the one objective over here.
Right.
And the objective's over there. So points-wise, that actually already might be out of reach. But I'm going to do my turn and we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, the score is 19-8 in my favor. But it's the top of battle round 3.
No, bottom 3.
No, top of 3.
You went first.
I know. Oh, you're saying we're going into the bottom of 3.
Yeah, we're going.
Oh yeah, we're agreeing here.
Yeah. We usually do.
All right.
All right, here we go. The Rebels, turn 3. Okay, so on Soulblight, turn 3, I ended up charging. Rebels, turn 3. I ended up charging over here, and Manfred, with the better part of valor, retreated. And so I ended up burning that objective. And so then over here, I did decide to charge Nagash, no guts, no glory. And actually, Gorslav decided no glory or guts. He failed his charge. He stayed back there with those guys. But these guys got into Nagash, did a few wounds. For their trouble, they ended up killing 8 zombies. So they're deader than they were to start with. And now we are going to roll for turn.
Oh, you have to roll Battle Shock for those.
Oh, yeah, Battle Shock. So 4 plus 8. So those guys are dead.
12, so they're gone.
So they're gone too.
Yeah.
And then do I get to roll to see if they come right back?
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, because that was already a unit that had been killed. There were only 10 of them. Yeah.
I thought that was the other one. Oh, yeah, that was one of the ones that already came back.
Do you still have a unit that you haven't brought back? No, you brought them back over here.
Yeah, no, I brought them over there.
You have none that you haven't brought back
no,
except for this block.
Yeah, this is the only guys left here that aren't dead and then came back.
Yeah.
So these guys are gone.
Right.
And now, so we added up the points, and it is currently what?
19-12 if you got 4, yeah.
Yep, 19-12. So we're going to roll for turn. If I don't end up getting turn, I think we're going to call it because I will not be able to come back points-wise. Because he captured this one in the corner over here.
Barely, but yeah.
All right, rolling for turn. Ooh, could be.
That's
Yay!
you.
All right.
Taking the double?
Yep, the Rebels are taking the double.
Okay, so I will get my 3 command points then.
All right, we're going to go on to Rebels. Turn 4. So luckily I got the double turn. I charged over here, ended up capturing that objective, and I burned it. He still holds this one over here.
Oh yeah, this one's in the center.
Yeah, the center one's gone. He still holds that one over there, so the Blood Knights, it's a lot of points to sit on an objective, but it worked. And then same thing over here in the corner, Manfred still holds this one over here. Mm-hmm. And so I pile into Nagash. Got a couple wounds back on him, took him back down to however many points. I took him down to 7. But he's still alive, or alive-ish. And for their trouble, a whole bunch of zombies died. Mm-hmm. And then a few more died with Battle Shock. So Jordan and I have talked through the points, and there is no chance of the Rebels winning out here. So Nagash did exactly what he was supposed to and smacked me down, just like I deserved.
Yeah, smacked you down by running away from Vhordrai the whole game.
Yeah, well, but he killed all Vhordrai's friends.
Yeah.
So we're going to call it there at top of turn 4. So yeah, good game, sir.
Yeah, good game.
He's smart enough to Nagash.
Right.
He taught me a lesson in the end anyway. So.
Alright.
Yeah, so good game.
Yep.
The Rebels are rebels without a cause, apparently. I did everything I don't know. I liked that build. The build's not terrible.
You had a lot of stuff to move around and grab my objectives. You probably should have burned the center one when you had a chance early. I don't know if it would have changed the outcome, but it would have made it a little closer.
Yeah.
And then you probably could have taken this one off me as well if you had a Vhordrai a bit further forward. If you managed to get him Oh, but I guess he was in combat, so he didn't really have a chance to get further forward.
Good game. I like Nagash. He's got a lot of funky things.
Yeah.
I like that he can just keep recasting stuff.
Arcane Bolt specifically.
Thing, yeah.
That's the only one he can do. He used to also have Mystic Shield he could do that with, but they FAQ'd that one.
Sure.
Arc in the Black still can in Osiris, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I like the Svengorian Lord. That dude's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he was fun. I mean, he's good if you can't afford a Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon in your list because you're running Nagash or you're running other stuff. He's a good substitute. His damage isn't very consistent because his big hits on a 4. So if you're not buffing him up, it's really sketchy. But he does a lot of good stuff. He's a great person to carry an artifact. And command trait. Like he buffed up these Blood Knights to give them 3 damage, which when they hit those Fell Bats, then they just died with 1 because of that, the command trait. But yeah, the Blood Knights mainly were sitting around making sure I had bodies on this point at least. But
I was surprised you didn't do their fancy trick where they fly over and do the mortal.
There was never really a chance to because they weren't in combat anytime. When it was my movement phase.
Oh sure. Well yeah, and actually the time they were in combat, I had the big dude on you, so you really couldn't jump over him.
Right, and you ran away with Vargas, remember? Right. So I didn't have a chance to on my turn.
Yeah, better part of valor. Run away, fight another day.
Hey, I mean Manfred does that, takes objectives.
Right.
That's what he does.
For sure. Yeah, so once we got to the later rounds, I just didn't see a way to come back.
Yeah, the thing is about how it can look like you're pretty close in points in this new edition, but it can be hard to get like enough points to make it back. Because I think there was only like 1 turn I denied you a secondary, and then I got a couple extra points from doing monster abilities and things.
Yeah, there's a lot of extra things to remember in this for sure, and so I definitely I keep saying this, but I'm going to need to make a cheat sheet.
Yeah.
Because every turn we kind of talked, did we miss anything? Right. There's just a lot of extra little things to remember. It's not a bad thing, it's just layered.
Nagash's command ability, big help, reroll 1s to hit and save, and auto-succeed Battle Shock. Oh right, I forgot! I auto-succeed Battle Shock. I didn't even have to lose that extra skeleton there.
Well, either way, I still hold it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
He's just still hanging out with his friends.
That's great. Manfred's command ability is great. The thing about this army is, I went first because I wanted to start to get some spells up and things. I should have gone second probably, because this whole game until Chad double turned me, I've been like, I only have 2 command points, and I kept failing my roll to get more command points too. But yeah, only having 2 command points is a pretty big deal because every turn, you get 1 more for your general, but every turn. No, that's including the one you get for your general in that turn. Then you'll get 1 more the next turn. So you start the turn with just 2 command points, and I want to use Nagash's, I use Nagash's every turn. It's too good not to.
Sure.
And then Manfred's really good as well, his command ability. I didn't use it later on because he was sort of by himself, it was whatever. But when he was with Nagash and giving him +1 to hit and wound on top of everything, it's really good. It's really good on everything.
Yeah, and the Mortis engine, I shouldn't have taken that because I realized once we were playing
the Reliquary,
that the Reliquary doesn't hurt undead anyway. So I was kind of thinking, with that plus the other one, but yeah, it didn't end up damaging.
Well, the thing is, at least it did some chip mortals, which is sort of what you want to do if you're trying to attack Nagash. Yeah. You probably sent too many things at Nagash instead of just trying to go around him. I mean, there was a lot of times where there wasn't much to be done because you had zombies there and Nagash was coming.
I didn't attack him intentionally. It was more, there wasn't other things to do.
Which was sort of my idea.
Yeah, so one of the turns I did just kind of hang back, but the rest of it I'm like, I might as well do something with all of the stuff I have sitting here. But I definitely, in this battle, if I had to do it again, making the list, would not take the Mortis engine. And then to back up too, I probably would have brought my Vargeists in a little differently.
I thought that was something you did pretty well overall, because every time they were like, they took an objective every time they went in. You also made all your 9-inch charges, which was great. But
I should have played him just a hair differently, only because I didn't save up enough to, when I went into combat and took the objective, to hold it or kill what was there.
I mean,
so,
you did kill what was there. You killed these skeletons.
But in the end, though, look at what I put at these guys, and they're still here. And same thing over there. Look at what I put in that corner.
Right.
And I literally just at this last turn took that objective back. So what I'm saying is I didn't sandwich you enough to
maybe
take it and
I
hold
don't know if
thing.
you had the tools. Maybe if you had another vampire lord and you could throw them forward at the same time.
Yeah, and I think and that's what I'm saying. In place of that mortis engine,
you'd have to
I
drop
would
something
toast
else
that,
off.
and I probably would toast one unit of 20 zombies. So if I get rid of those, it would be enough to get
bats.
another big thing on the table.
And maybe some bats.
Yeah. The bats I just kind of threw in there because I've been wanting to play them. Like I said, since I saw that Total War video.
I was curious because I wasn't really super hot on the War Scroll, and I think in this game I proved my opinion right, at least somewhat.
Yeah.
I mean, I did spike with these guys. This one killed all 3 because he got 9 damage from 3 lance attacks.
Well, for some reason, reading it too, I was thinking they were summonable, so I could bring them back.
Right, because they do have... No, I think they are summonable, but they don't have the Deadwalker or Death Rattle keyword, so you can't bring them back.
So I can't bring them back. Yeah.
Right, which is sort of weird.
And that is what I was thinking they were. Is I thought I could bring them back, so I'm like, oh, if I charge them in, they die, I can still bring some back.
And you bring 2 back, because you're rounding up,
Right, and so, but once I figured out that wasn't the case, then now I'm kind of like, it's skeptical.
Right.
And like I said, now that they got rid of the swarms, I used to really dig the swarms too, so...
I mean, the bats were fast, but, like, you had a lot of fast stuff, actually, in this list. The problem was survivability, I think.
And that's what I mean by sandwiching.
Right.
So even though I came at you this way with the bats and this way with the Vargeists, it still wasn't enough to accomplish what I was after.
You had some damage. What did impress me was the damage output on the Vargeist is solid. If you're fighting something that's not one of my heavy anvils. Like, when you killed the skeletons, you did damage to these guys. Though I will say, if I was able to buff these guys up and make them +1 to save, which I could have done if I had more command points available, or maybe I was using it somewhere else. But that's the real trick with these guys is they're on a 3-up, and then you make them a 2-up, and Nagash's command ability rerolls once to save. So these guys are basically immune to damage, essentially, unless it's mortal wounds or high rend.
Well, yeah, and actually once they did that other deal and then they gained the extra attack and everything else like that.
That was just once. If they kill certain things, they gain special abilities. Yeah. Notice that they killed your Fellbats, and because they're like a unit, I think the wording is they're non-heroes that have 3 or more wounds. They get an extra wound. So then now they're just 4 wound Blood Knights. So I started out with 5 Blood Knights with 15 wounds, and I ended with 4 Blood Knights with 16 wounds. So,
well, yeah, and that's why I said I'll forget it down there. Because I had more of a chance of getting at that one.
That's true. Well, you could have still gotten this one. The thing is, I only had 4 models, so if you had a monster over here, you could have just taken the objective without fighting me.
Sure. At that point, I gotta kill him. Though. That's what I was really thinking. So.
And yeah, I know at the time you were charging Manfred, like, kill Manfred, and then Manfred runs away. But
well, that actually was intentional. I was hoping I was going to bail.
Yeah.
Because I had all of those debuffs on me. And I'm like, I don't really want to fight him, but I'll just send everything
to be honest, I think, not with how you rolled, but there was a very good potential, even with the debuffs, that you could have killed Manfred. You rolled pretty bad, even with the debuffs. So, which is why you only killed a few skeletons.
Yeah, I whiffed on one of my whole profiles. Right. So, but yeah, so that is Nagash teaching him a lesson.
Yeah.
So
Nagash is like, no, you don't get to fight anymore. Yeah. At least not until my next hero phase.
Well, one of them that you actually literally did, it was the Soul Stealer. What was that one where you decrepify?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's literally Nagash going, here, watch
I had Fading Vigor, Decrepify, Overwhelming Dread all on him. Because Vhordrai, I know what he does. I run him quite often. He's very strong, especially if you can get buffs on him.
Oh, I know you steamrolled the giants when we
Right,
played those
right.
days.
But I got on the difference is on my Vhordrai that game. I'm pretty sure I had his spell on him. The one you kept trying to cast. Right. I'm pretty sure I had that on him, and then I just tossed him forward, and he was charging full max profile, and then just slams into something.
Yeah.
But when he's debuffed and doesn't get his spell off. I mean, he still can do damage, but it's not.
That's not the same.
Right.
Yeah, and so definitely what I think I'll do differently with this kind of list is I'm going to pluck out the Mortis Engine, even if I'm not playing against Dead. I think I'd take that out.
I mean, you don't have
600 points aren't worth it.
If it's only worth it, I think, if you're running a really spellcaster heavy list.
Right.
Like
Which this is definitely not.
No, you had one spellcaster, and he was a single caster, and then
Yeah.
you had Gorslav, who unbound a spell once, or tried to.
Well, his jam was more just kind of hanging out to bring back more zombies. That's what I was thinking. With all those
No,
zombies
that was good. And honestly, that worked really well. I mean, you brought back all your units except for that 40 pack, which I sort of avoided because I'm like, I'll just bring back 20.
Yeah.
Gorslav is a good inclusion, especially if you're running this many zombies. I'd recommend it in any list that runs a decent amount of summonable units.
Yeah, and he's a cool character, too. I mean, just the model is cool. I subbed in my my Flesh Eater Court character this time, but I'm definitely going to just paint Gorslav up so I can throw him in my list.
If nothing else, tell your opponents very clearly what he does, because and it might make him into a target. But the thing about him is, since he can pass off his wounds to zombies anyways, and he's got 7 wounds, and even if you kill him, it's a 75-point model, you can still get your units back other ways too. I wouldn't mind him getting shut off instead of something else, to be honest. But I like him in a.
Well, and I knew you knew what he did.
Yeah.
So I just kind of kept him around the zombies, like I'm
right,
pass off wounds anyway.
I mean, I might have shot him if he was clear of the zombies. I might have like arcane bolt spam blam, but
well, that's why I kept him kind of hanging out.
that was the right move.
The zombies, so.
But yeah.
Yeah, very cool. I'll definitely include him. Like I said, dump the Mortis Engine. Probably dump a unit of the zombies so I can bring in another vampire heavy hitter kind of thing.
Yeah. Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon, or Vangorian Lord even, possibly. If you're bringing in Vhordrai, he's a good choice. And if you're running Castellai still, you could always put in a unit of Blood Knights. I mean... Yeah.
Well, and I have a bunch of Blood Knights I got to paint up, so... Yeah.
Blood Knights work great with Castellai, obviously. Yeah. I mean, they didn't have to lift heavily here, but they did at one point do what I needed them to do.
Well, I can run up to 20, so I have a unit of 10 metal ones that are already put together, the older version, and then I have another unit of 10 that are even the previous version from that. So
the downside with this list versus the other Nagash list I have that I'm thinking of is, for this list, I'm able to put these Blood Knights in, which are another center of power, sort of. In the other list, instead, I don't have the Blood Knights, and I think I have like zombies or skeletons, like just a minimum pack of one of those, and then I have the Spell Portal. So I have a few more models on the board, but like they're not very strong. You'll breeze through them, but then I get the Spell Portal to try to reach out and grab something like Vhordrai and take him off the board. But, I mean, that's not reliable. I rely on it mainly to scare my opponents.
Like, oh, look what I can do.
Right. Because oftentimes when people know that I can do that and can reach out 18 inches and just erase something with Hand of Dust, they're scared. I mean, obviously.
Right.
But the thing is, statistically, there's a decent chance I get it, but it's not like... It's probably not worth giving up Blood Knights to be able to do that.
Well, statistically, it's 50-50.
Well, once you get the spell off.
Right.
But you have to get the spell off, which is on an 8, which is hard, but you're Nagash, so that's a +3. He can do it most of the time, but you still have to get it off. You have to make sure, and some people will have auto unbinds, like I think Techless can automatically unbind, a couple other things can. And even things that can't auto unbind can still try to unbind you. And they can try to unbind the Spell Portal also. So you have to get the Spell Portal off if you're trying to cast at range.
Yeah. Well, at some point we still do have to do the matchup of Nagash versus Techless. I'd like to see that.
Oh gosh.
A spellcaster.
I mean, Techless does cost too much now. It honestly depends on what else is in the Lumineth list. Because
well, I'm more so thinking just a battle of wizards. I think that would be fun.
Lumineth can be really nasty. Though I think Techless is too expensive. but he might go favorably into Nagash, because Nagash can't stop him from casting, and he can stop Nagash from casting 1 spell per turn.
It still would be fun to see it, because what I always think of when I was thinking of those two of us doing a battle is the Lord of the Rings, where the 2 wizards are going at it. So, or Gandalf's going at it with the other dude. Saruman. And they didn't really cast any spells, they just threw each other around the room.
Right.
And I think it would be different with these two. It would be nice to actually see them winging spells at each other. So that would be kind of fun.
I mean, I don't know how many spells I'd manage to get off if Teclis were on the board. I'd get off some, because I have 8. And
it just would be fun to see those rolls and how that would play out. So
that would be interesting.
And you can have a little fun with it and say, at the end, whoever loses gets turned into a goat or a rabbit or something silly.
No, I think what it would come down to more than Nagash v Teclis is Manfred sneaking around the backside doing some silly things. Sure. Or depending on who I'm playing against with Lumineth, just a ton of mortal wound arrows coming out of nowhere, or mortal wound spears. The Lumineth can do quite a bit of mortal wounds, and this build, and most of my builds that I consider pretty strong, at least so far out of the ones I've tried for this army, are very weak to mortal wounds. Your army is not, because you have so many things on the board. You're like, mortal wounds? All my defenses are for mortal wounds anyways.
Right.
I kept telling him to roll a save, and it's like, they're zombies. They don't get one anyways. I just get the deathless. A build like this with very high armor, mortal wounds that are done pretty efficiently, like Lumineth can pull off, can really, really hurt.
Well, and with this one in particular, it actually helped because we were both undead and we had the grave sites literally all over the board.
Right.
So I didn't have to worry about where I was.
That's true.
That deathless. So it'd be a little different if I just had my 4.
I suppose, but it's not actually that hard to have deathless, because usually you have more heroes than what you brought.
Yeah,
you only brought 2.
Yeah.
Normally you'll have a few heroes, and at least 2 of them will be your general. Like if you're running Castle, make Vhordrai gets to be a bonus general anyways, as he was here. So you can run like general on your Vampire Lord or Vengorian Lord, and then bonus general for Vhordrai. I'm
going to pick that guy up anyway, because he's just so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's just a fantastic model.
Yep.
So...
And he did well on the tabletop. I was pretty apprehensive about how he'd be, since he's fairly inconsistent. But he gives you some utility.
It's kind of funny too that what you did with him too is you kind of kept him out of harm's way. Like, I'm not sure if I want to get him.
Right. Well, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll attack Fellbats. Well, I guess because there was that point where I thought about, okay, I could try to collapse on Vhordrai with Nagash and the Vengorian Lord. At one point, I had the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And I decided, no, I'm just going to go for the objective with Nagash, and then the Vengorian Lord is going to run away, and they'll get my Savage Spearhead. And the secondary objective is sort of what clinched it for me, because I knew I could guarantee that and do it with monsters, which gives me the extra point. Whereas I could also get 3 points if I had killed Vhordrai with Nagash or the Vengorian Lord. But there's a risk I don't.
Yeah.
There's a risk you can... I think you had already used Finest Hour, but there's a risk you could use your command point for +1 to save, and then I just whiff. And then he's not dead, and I don't get points, and now we're suddenly, tied.
Yeah. And that was actually kind of the kicker of what you put you over the top point-wise.
Right.
That was the tip.
Yeah.
So,
it could have been, because maybe I killed Vhordrai, and then the game would have probably been over anyways.
Yeah.
But I went for the safer option.
Yeah.
And it worked out.
Which is always better.
Well, it's not. But it worked out here, and because Vhordrai in the end couldn't win all on his own. Even though I didn't hit him at all. Not once.
No, he just kind of flew around and you avoided him.
Yeah.
Which is probably a better idea anyway. But
the thing is, I sort of had 3 power pieces, if you count the Blood Knights and the Vengorian Lord as one together. Yeah. Whereas you had 1. So I figured, as long as I can do my things, and you just don't overwhelm me with numbers, it'll work. And it was close at the beginning, especially. You had so many dudes on the board.
No, at first I've actually turn 1, turn 2, I felt pretty good about how I was doing. But then turn 3, I started seeing all my chaff die off. And I'm like, I don't have anything to replenish
I think
this,
turn
so-
2 I killed like 4 units or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Is that once I started seeing all my
Right.
chaff just kind of go away.
And you
I
can
had
bring them
nothing
back and do some sneaky
So-
things with that, but then in the end there's fewer of them, and then I just walk into them with Nagash.
Yeah, by that time all the bats were
Right.
gone and all the Vargas
Yeah.
were gone, so...
I made sure to kill the Vargas first, because the thing I noticed about them, their damage was surprisingly decent as long as I didn't like really buff my armor up. But their saves are, I think they're a 5-up. Yeah, they're a 5-up with 4 wounds, which isn't huge for what you're paying for them. You're paying for their speed and their damage output, not their tankiness. So I figured I've got to hit these. These are what I have to get rid of now, or they'll be a pain in my butt for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And I think that was a good
And
idea.
mission account.
Yeah, I did focus them. Like, Manfred all on his own. Manfred killed 2 units of them, yeah. He just was... I wanted, my idea at the beginning of the game was to run the 3 dudes all together, and Nagash would be super buff. They'd all buff each other. But in the end, I sort of needed Nagash to deal with those someone to deal with the Vargas. So I just sent Manfred, and it worked. I spiked, and yeah.
Yeah,
they all died.
And they all died.
Yeah.
Deader than they were before.
Right.
So.
All right.
Right
Wow.
on. Well, good game, sir.
Yeah, good game.
Yeah. Good game. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, join the Horde, and we'll see you in the next one.